Good morning, Rabbi Isaiah. Moedik. Sunday morning. Frischkeit. We have an unbelievable guest here. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Yossi Nissim.
From?
Shelaima.
Ooh. Gewaldig. Pumped.
You brought Fred.
Yeah, I brought another guy.
You brought... Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Yechiel
Lauber? Yechiel Lauber from? But where do you live? You both live in Yerushalayim?
For now, yeah.
For now.
Originally from Lakewood.
Lakewood, and you?
Bar forever.
Originally from Birevach. Gewaldig. Okay. Rebelli, wow. Thanks for the amazing shir in Bnei Brak. Just to remind you the vart I told you after the shir. Guy comes over to me and says he's going to be using this vart over and over. Let's see. Here's the first time. Yerzaman Bloch of Muncie, son of Rabbi Eli Meir Zitzal. He says most of the time when people say tzorach iyun, they really mean tzorach b'kiyus.
Very good. Very good.
Your Talmud off and on for more than 5 years, many of the times in Kol HaShon, Avram Moshe Rosenhan, Kiryat Sefer. P.S. At the shir I met Avrami Cohn, who was in my shir almost 14 years ago in Rabbi Feuer's yeshiva in RBS. So, you know, we have a zchut of having Avrami Cohn in the booth. So I got to tell you, you become used to it. You know, it's like, okay, Nechama. But it's they say in Hebrew, lo muvan me'elav. It's not self-understood that we have such dedicated people. Avrami Cohn, not once did he stay up the entire night. Be'emes, and we don't see it. The entire night to make sure that one cable goes from there to there, together with Dave. I mean, those are the two people that I know of that really, the day of Bnei Brak, they had all this equipment boxed up and everything. They got a trailer and they went to Bnei Brak at 11 o'clock in the morning for a 9 o'clock shir. And they were there the entire day and this and that. And then everything, this doesn't work out well and you think you have it going. But the amount of hours, Be'emes, the amount of hours that these people put in is unbelievable. And I have to give a tremendous hakar satay. Tremendous. Huh?
And a raise.
And a raise. Yishkoyach. I thought you were on my team. Shmuel K. Hi Rebellies, you mentioned today's shir that you get malchus for hitting someone. I would like to add an interesting point. This is Murray, the Rabbi said, if you hit somebody, you don't want to get malchus, he has an eight how to get out of it. If you hit the other guy hard enough, you'll be potter from receiving malchus. Why? Because if you mazik the other person more than a shav pruta, become a lav l'tashlum, l'shanitin l'tashlum. In the case, the halacha is, ein loikim mishalim. Where you just hit him softly, it's less than a shav pruta. The chinuch in the end of the mitzvah, tough kuf tzadikei says that it's a chiddush. It's actually a very good trivia question to ask people. And how to make sure you hit hard. So we're talking about a fish pulling a wagon on the side of by the river. So here a guy sent in a ma'aseh shahaya how to do this, maybe with volume. I think it does have value.
Then I tried using fabric straps and zip ties to harness behind the pectoral fin so they couldn't slip forward, and then one on the tail, which works surprisingly well.
That's good. Look at that. That's not a fish harness, that's a handbag.
That's a fish shopping bag.
Worked exactly as I intended. The fish swam forward and didn't bump around on the top or the bottom of the pipe, which means I can move on to phase 2, making the full chariot. So I just clamped the rest of the cut pipe.
Those things are alive, obviously.
All right, that was pretty smooth.
Moving pretty well now. Go on, boys!
It's schlepping his wrath. Put 5 carp and whatever those are.
10 horsepower, it's fish power.
Five fish power.
Yeah, 5 On Friday, Daf 59, you asked, what would precious stones be worth if everyone had thousands? But then you got sidetracked with a slide and didn't answer it. I checked the Hebrew shir, and you added that Rav Shteiman also asked it, but you didn't provide the answer. Kindly provide the answer, Moshe. I don't have an answer. The best answer I could come up with was that, okay, every yid has thousands of precious gems, but they're still valuable to the rest of the world. I don't know. Don't have the real answer. Oh, this is Murdik. Look at this Zchut. The ganze Welt. Everybody's involved. 5 Masechta sponsors, 5 month sponsors, 5 6-day sponsors. Oh, Okay.
It's not a kasha. There's so many people are very, very, very rich, right?
Yeah.
And they still want to be richer and richer, richer. Among us, so many people are rich. That's not a. There's so many people are very rich,
No,
so
but
you
it
become
loses
very,
value.
very rich.
The point is it loses
It doesn't
value.
though. It doesn't though. Think about it. How many
Everybody
people you know in
had
Chicago?
Ask him. He's a diamond dealer. If everybody had 100 diamonds, the value wouldn't go down?
It's not like that though. But it's not.
No?
At the Metzias,
Yeah,
it's
what
not
are you
like
shaking your
that.
head?
No.
It wouldn't go down?
No.
Each person in the Kehila community had 100
There's so
diamonds.
many people like that who had that. Remember?
Most of Beer's diamonds are
Rabbi say, here's an interesting shot talking about diamonds. My wife's diamond on Shabbos fell out of the ring. And she's holding it. She says, okay, take it. I said, wait a minute. It might be muktzah. I don't know. To me, it seemed like it was muktzah. Does anybody? Why do you say it's muktzah?
It doesn't have its thing anymore. The whole
There's
point to the
nothing
ring.
to do
Yeah,
with
it's
it,
not,
right.
you wouldn't wear it. You wouldn't wear it
I told you
outside.
just throw it out and finish.
You wouldn't wear it anymore.
Yeah, you have 99 more.
Okay, so what do? Once you're holding it, you're allowed to do something with it. So you put it in a place that's nishma or whatever. Okay. We weren't sure. We were debating. So what do you think? Muktzah? No. Baruch Hashem. Yes, it fell into there. I don't know how that prongs opened up.
Give it to me, I'll take care of it.
Oh.
I told her, don't worry. It wasn't a remez. It's a pashut. But doesn't mean that it goes on the cheshbon of something else. Masechta sponsored Refuah Shelaima for Yosef Shmuel ben Alte Nechama from his grateful family. The Masechta sponsored for Atzlacha Baruch and Begashmiyos. The Masechta sponsored by Eli Cohn, memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim. He had to start learning Daf Yomi at age 70. Again, lo muvam me'elav. We say this every day, and the first time, wow, the guy started learning when he was 70. I don't know, learning Daf Yomi when he was 70. But he continued for 32 years until he's nifter. The Masechta sponsored for the unity of Jewish people. I don't want anybody to take. Not everybody's going to be zoicha to learn for 30 years if you start at age 70. You know what I'm saying? It's oisnam. The Masechta sponsored for Glenn Esterson with the loving. I'm saying don't push it off to 70. There's no guarantees in this world. Glenn Esterson with love and gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Also something I don't take for granted every day. Wilmington, North Carolina. The Parnasa Chodesh, Linishma Zcharya ben Moshe, Linishma Zchaya bas Yosef. Parnasa Chodesh Chus, Parnasa Birevach for Baruch, Tzvi, Nissim ben Shoshana, Leah. Parnasa Chodesh with a Karsa Toiv from Anonymous, thank you. Parnasa Chodesh Shprintzy Alan Gross, Shelaima Zalman ben Yitzchak Isaac, Yom and Isaac ben Tzvi Hirsch, Cohn, Zchut, Birevach, and Refuah Shelaima, Yonis and Eitan ben Basheva Bracha. Parnasa Chodesh by Leon Welcher for the speedy release from house arrest of Ari Rosenfeld, Aaron Ben Hinda Esther Gittel. He wants him out of house arrest. I was saying shkoyach to Rebbe Yosef coming out of jail. It's not enough. Of course, it's not enough. House arrest is terrible. Koilul of the month, sponsored by HYK. Rabbi say, what's HYK? Ventures in honor and for the success of all our clients. Parnasa Yoim, Ilan David. I used to say this every day. David Davici, Lili Linshmas, my grandfather, Yishai ben Aaron, January 25th, 2000, Yud Ches Shvat. Parnas Hayoim, Ilan Davidovici. Lilishmas, my grandmother, Yocheved Chava, Itala Bas Avrom, January 25th, 2008. You hear that? Yeah, we know about this. But once a year, they were both nifter on January 25th. 2008, Yud Ches Shvat, and that's the Pella. Even though it was 8 years apart, they fell out on the same day, both in English and in Hebrew. Pella, Yud Ches Shvat. Parnas Hayoim, a Talmud. Do I know what this is? Daf Samach Aleph is sponsored in honor of Reb Eli Stefansky. Aleph Samach.
You want to do this?
Oh yeah. Let me show you this. I've been pushing this off for a while. It's in my house and it's huge. I had to schlep this here. But a guy went through the trouble. This last Yom in the Shabbaton, I received the most phenomenal gifts, and many of them. I don't even remember all of them. This is another one I got here at the Siyum here, but it's all within this over here, Remy. I don't know if you can see, but okay, whatever. This thing. This is another one. Basically, he says Baruch Hashem Yikayim Zdiri Torah, and he goes through all the Masechtas that he finished. So each one has a line, and it says Masechtas Beitz, Shoshana, Tainis, Megillah, Vetkata, Chagig, Subas, Yivamis, Nadarim, Nazir, Soita, Gitin, Kedushim, Babakam, Babamtzir, Babasra, Reb Eli. Your mom has changed my life. And then he gives a whole bracha over here. Chaim David Kirshner. Chaim Dov. I'm reading sideways. Chaim Dov Kirshner. Staten Island, New York. Yoim Yudzayin Kislev Yishkoyach. Chaim, Doiv, I didn't forget about it. It's in my dining room, right there next to my seat since the Siyum. I have to find a place to put it. Rabbi say, I love this. Next time you do something like this, smaller, so I have room. I don't have room anymore on my walls. Maybe MDY will build me a new house or something. After they get me my jet, because I do have to go skiing once in a while. All right, Yishkoyach, wow. Maybe it shouldn't be up against the Aron Kodesh. Let's put it here. Hillel, you got this? Beautiful. One more time. It's a lot of work. A lot of work went into this. No? Each pasuk. Let's see. Tuv tam v'das melam elam Yisrael v'ateres haTorah liyoshna machzer b'metik l'shoyne v'sefsoisos hamachkimois limed mesechtes nazir. That's just one line. Each line is a made up, is a composed line. Okay, Shkoyach Gadol. Huh? It's made up. Zog Deila Gemara. Omalei Rava Bar Chonon Labaya. Benny, today you're going to understand it better than last night. Not that you didn't understand it. I'm assuming it was a little bit difficult last night. We have this. This is what we finished off yesterday, your boy say. We had two psukim. Zvicha and Ishtachava. The Gemara taught us that from Zvicha, we learn, what is Zvicha? Zvicha is the shecht. The Torah says one word, Ziveach lelohim yocharam. Huh?
You didn't finish the sponsors.
You have to ruin everything. I didn't? Where am I holding? Oh, you're right. Wow. Okay. The Parnasa, these guys, they distracted me with that big thing. Parnasa Yoim, thank you, Avremi. Zalmi Steierman, in honor of Penny Steierman's bar mitzvah today. Harbe Nachat. Mazel tov, Penny. The Parnasa Yoim by Mark Ashkenazi. Listen to this one. This was my grandfather, Meirenu Rebbe Yisrael. There was only like two people. What's that noise? If it's possible to shut it off, Yishkoyach. The Meirenu is a title that the Yekis only give once, every 100 years. So his grandfather had this title, Meirenu Yisrael ben Rebbe Yosef on his yard side. Mr. Rothschild was about a boss, a respected asker. In 1950s, America ignored resistance from the mafia, he told me that. And threats to his life as he worked to improve shchita and kashrus. They owned the Schlachtheiser, the mafia, and they put guns to his head that he should calm down on the chumras. He finished Shas 8 times, and listen to this one, Rabbi said this is a big one. He finished Shisha Sidrei Mishnah every single year for his mother's yard site, times 63.
Wow.
63 yard sites, because she was nifter when he was 20, and he finished it every single year on a yard site. Parnas Hayoim, dedicating Daf 61 by Atzola Bet Shemesh, Unit 61. Who's that? Do we know? That's you? Avram, it's you? Wow, so we share.
No wonder he knew.
That's why you pointed out that we didn't do. Baruch Hashem. No, you saved me. What? I would have missed Mark Ashkenazi's thing in Zalmi. Zalmi's bar mitzvah. I'm sure you did. That's what I thought. But you're in Chab. The art of the month for Zchut for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many, and art of the month in honor of Yosef Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work that they do. So let's go back to these things here.
We have the lake there.
Where's that?
The lake one.
Wow, Chevre, wow. Look at that. They have a projector on a milk box. Givaldi, no, seriously. There's like 10 people over there. Givaldi is stuff. Kol hakavod lechem. Kol hakavod. Seriously, keep in growing it, and I want to see this next week bigger, larger, just like in the Beitar and Rechasim, and we're Beis Hashem. There's other places coming. This is going to be a regular in Flatbush. Baruch Hashem. Rabbi says Givaldi stuff. Check this out. Just to do a chazar on the sugi in 2 seconds. Donnie, pay attention over here. Okay, this is not time for Shnai Mikra. This is time to focus in. Shpatim is a good one. Okay, you got it? Here, everybody, focus. What kind of avodah zara are you chayiv misan? So obviously, if you worship the idol the way it's intended to be, you're chayiv. So if you're supposed to throw a stone at it and you throw a stone at it, you're chayiv. What if you go to a idol and instead of throwing a stone at it, You take an animal and you shecht it right in front of it. Chayiv misa. Why? Because the pasuk says, Zivech lelihim yacharab, that if you shecht to another entity, will destroy you. Meaning, so we're gonna. What we learned yesterday is anything that's similar to shechting. What's similar to shechting? Anything that's performing an avoid in the Beis Hamikdash, like zrika, like nisuch, to pour wine on an avodah zara, even though that's not the way to do it. You don't pour wine on their stones. You throw a stone on a stone. You went with a bottle of wine. You went like this on their avodah zara, misa. You sprinkled blood on it, misa. You cooked a steak on it, misa. Why? Because you're supposed to you take the meat and you put it on a mizbeach. So that's one of the avodas. How do I know it? From the pasuk Zeveach Lelihim Yachram. What do I do with the pasuk of Ishtachava? Bowing. Bowing is not an avodah, Rabbi. It's not an avodah. They do it in the Beis Hamikdash. It's not an avodah. It's not one. You don't have to bow anywhere. You bow certain times. You bow, whatever. There's a thing in the Beis Hamikdash, but it's not part of the avodah of the karbanos. What do I learn from that? Very, very simple. That if you bow, you're chayev. But let's say if I kiss the avodah zara or hug the avodah zara, that's an in-between category. Why? It's not an avodah and it's not in a pasuk of Ishtachava. So there's only one thing that's similar to kissing and hugging that you're chayev on. What is it? Bowing. Why? Because it's a pasuk Ishtachava. Now, how did I figure that out yesterday? I figured it out because if I'm going to learn everything from Ishtachava, it's very easy. I'll say, listen, if bowing, you're chayiv, so I should be chayiv for kissing, hugging, and everything. Let's learn everything from Ishtachava. Then you know what the problem is? The problem is I have nothing to do with Mr. Zvicha. I have nothing to do with the pasuk of Zvicha. It's completely extra. I have an extra pasuk. I can't have an extra pasuk. So since I can't have extra pasuk, now I have to learn everything from Zvicha, and then learn zero out of Ishtachava. Just one thing, Ishtachava. But what if it's a little bit of a cheshbon? It's for 5 minutes. Okay? So if you learn from Panovich, great. If you didn't learn Panovich, this is where Panovich excels. This is the type of cheshbon they're good at. What if I have something to do with the Zvicha pasuk? The whole cheshbon is I have nothing to do with Zvicha, so therefore I have to learn everything out of Zvicha and nothing out of Ishtachava. But what if I have something to learn out of Zvicha? I have a very, very important halacha to learn from. What? I'm going to learn a halacha. Here, so let me just show you what we did. From Zvicha I learned every avoida in the Beis Hamikdash, like Mekater and Menasech. And from Ishtachava I learned one thing, only Ishtachava. As the Gemara, no. I can learn from Zvicha something very important. That what? That if I shecht an animal in front of avodah zara, but my intent was not to shecht it for avodah zara. My intent was to sprinkle the blood 5 minutes later to avodah zara. That's also chayiv. That's a big chiddush. I'm doing one action now, but my intent was on a second action later. Says the pasuk Zvicha, you're chayiv on that. And Memela will free up the pasuk of Ishtachava to teach everything. See what just happened? If I could learn from Zvicha, mechashvim, avoida la'avoida, that I could shecht, but have in mind, I didn't say a word. In my brain, I'm thinking to myself, this is not avodah zara, but you wait. In 5 minutes from now, I'm going to take that blood and sprinkle it with such kavanah for avodah zara. Just everything was in my mind. Death penalty on the spot. Death penalty. Why? Zeveach. So memela, then I'm allowed to learn everything out of Ishtachava. Before, Ishtachava was just very limited to Ishtachava, to bowing. Now I'm going to learn everything that's similar to Ishtachava. What is Ishtachava? To give honor. Like a Chinese guy, you go like this. So anything that's honor, what's honor? A hug, a kiss, honor. Dressing, putting on shoes, washing the avodah zara, sweeping in front of it, sprinkling water, all these things, chayiv misa. Why? Because now I can learn from Ishtachava. Before I said I have to learn everything from Zvicha, because I have nothing else to do with the pasuk. But here I found you a beautiful halacha to learn from the pasuk. So once I have a beautiful halacha on the right, so left is all free to learn from. Maybe that's the pshat. Let's see inside.
Is the problem waiting? Like what is it, the extra?
No, the problem is machshava for a future. I'm doing action now. It's future. It's a chiddush. It work. Does it work in regular avodah? Pigul to be mefagel, and in a regular kachim. When I shech the animal now, I'm doing this avodah now. I'm thinking to do another avodah later. Says Gemara Malei Rava Bar Avchanan La Bayo, Ema, 3 lines from the bottom of Amud Beis. Ema, but you said you have nothing to learn out of Zvicha, and therefore Zvicha teaches me every avodah that's in the Beis Hamikdash. In other words, mikater menasach, sprinkling wine, barbecuing meat for avodah zara must be learned out of the pasuk Zvicha. And therefore, if it's learned from the pasuk Zvicha, the pasuk V'shtachava is super limited to only one thing called the Shtachava. Maybe no. Maybe I'm going to learn maybe I should learn everything from Shtachava. Let's open it up to learn a tremendous rule that everything that's Shaloi Kedarka, this is not the way to serve this avodah zara, but it's a covet for the avodah zara. Your mechabed merabit, your menashik megafif, whatever it is, it's a covet. But your whole force yesterday was you can't do that because I have nothing to do with the pasuk zevech. And now I'll tell you I have something very important to do with the pasuk zevech. I have something. That if I think of one avodah to the other, while I'm shechting, I'm thinking I'm going to sprinkle blood for avodah zara, yechayiv misa ditmar. If somebody is thinking, thank you for breaking that. If somebody's thinking while he's shechting, he's thinking I'm going to sprinkle the blood for avodah zara, so we have a machlokes. Asura, you're over. Rish Lakish Amar muteres. And Rish Lakish says you're not over. Says the Gemara, listen to this. This is also a tiny little bit of a cheshbon, one step more. That according to Rabbi Yochanan, everything fits like Rabbi Yochanan. Check this out. Because according to Rabbi Yochanan, you don't need a pasuk for this. Look. You don't need a pasuk for Mechashim Ha'avayla. So if you don't need a pasuk for that, now we're back to step 1, that the pasuk of Zvicha is extra. So if it's extra, I'm going to learn everything out of Zvicha and 0 out of Ishtachava. So everything makes sense. But according to Rish Lakish, that it's not so pashut, so I do need the pasuk for Zvicha to teach me Mechashim Ha'avayla. And therefore, if I do need the pasuk for one thing, then I can learn everything out of the second pasuk of Ishtachava. El Rish Lakish Bayikra. Mazil Papa or Rabbi Yochanan Bayikra. So you're telling me no, according to Rabbi Yochanan, we have to go back to the original. No. I do need this pasuk. Check this out. We're going to take off the X now. I need the pasuk for something else to teach me that you killed the guy. How do I know you killed the guy? And if I need the pasuk to teach me one halacha to kill, then the other pasuk Ishtachava is completely extra to teach me all the halachas that are similar to Ishtachava. Mazgul Papa, don't worry, this sugi is going to be over in 3 minutes. Mazgul Papa, Rabbi Yochanan said that if you have a bad intent in your mind, you take the behemoth, you throw it in the garbage. Who told me you could kill a guy because he had a bad intent? Vasakra, and that's why I need a pasuk to say you killed the guy. Oh, so Zvicha has something to. The whole force was I have nothing to do with the pasuk Zvicha, and therefore I'm going to learn everything out of Zvicha. In other words, only things that are similar to Zvicha, like Mekater Menasach. No, I have something very good to do with the pasuk to teach me you kill somebody, and therefore Ishtachava becomes open to learn from. And what am I going to learn? Not Mekater Menasach. I'm going to learn all the things that are covered: kissing, hugging, sprinkling water, all that stuff. That's question number 1. Question number 2. Now if we go to Rish Lakish, once again, now I'm back to square 1 with Rish Lakish. I don't need a pasuk to tell me you kill a guy. In other words, the Gemara is saying there's no force here. According to Rabbi Yochanan, I do need a pasuk to kill somebody. You could ask him, Rabbi Yochanan, you could say the same story in Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara says in Rish Lakish, now I'll play with you, I'll do the other way. Fakir, I don't need a pasuk to teach me that you kill somebody. Why? Because that's obvious halacha. When the Rish Lakish say let the guy, the thing go, that's an animal. So Somebody has a bad thought while he's shechting, kill him. Why? A guy that bows to a mountain. The har mutar, okay, very good. You did nothing with the mountain. The mountain doesn't become asr. But the person that is isser thinking about it, and that thought alone makes him liable to the death penalty. The har mutar avoid the b'sayif. Look, you could kill somebody just for a thought. So why do I need a special pasuk for it? So if I don't need a special pasuk for it, I must learn all things that are similar to zvicha from that pasuk. And memela, ishtachava only teaches me one thing. Here, so we're back to square one. Zvicha is going to teach me every avodah because I don't need a pasuk to teach me any. I have zero chidushim from this pasuk. So if I have zero chidushim from zvicha, so I must teach me that everything that's similar to zvicha, like mekater menasach, yichayev, and ishtachava. Back to what we said yesterday. So we're back to square one. So we don't have a bomb kasha or bomb proof to say that we can learn something else from zvicha. No, so we're just going to stick to what we had yesterday. So Nechama, to what?
Question or not?
I don't have proof. It's neither. I could go all different directions. So I'm just going to stick to what we said yesterday. In other words, I can't slug up what we said yesterday. What did we say yesterday? This chart right over here. I have two psukim, zvicha and ishtachava. Zevech lelihim yochram. What do I do with that? Everything that's similar to zvicha, which means shchita. What's shchita? An avodah that's performed in the Beis Hamikdash. So any avodah performed in the Beis Hamikdash that you do to avodah zarah, you chayiv misa. So what do I do with the pasuk ishtachava? Nothing, not a lot. One thing: if you bow to avodah zarah, you chayiv misa. But let's say you do something similar to bowing. Let's say you hug the avodah zarah, you're not chayiv because it doesn't say it in the pasuk. So we're done with that sugya, with that whole cheshbon back and forth. I'm just curious as the Gemara in your Havamina. What was your Havamina b'chlal? He said, yeah, one of the here, if you look at this chart, for a second we thought that you take the pasuk ishtachava and you say, look, the pasuk ishtachava comes to tell me everything that's similar to ishtachava. So let's think about it for a second. What's ishtachava? It's shaloi kedarko. We call it shaloi kedarko. What does shaloi kedarko mean? This is not the way to perform avodah zarah. This avodah zarah, these 1 billion people from this country, they put their finger in the nose, and that's how they do avodah zarah. You come and you go like this. This is not how you do it. You get killed. Why? Because it says in the pasuk. So Memela, I learned from this pasuk. The Havamina was, I can learn from this pasuk that anytime you do covet to avodah zarah, regardless of how the goyim worship this avodah zarah, like you take a broom and you sweep in front of it, you make sure the path to it is clean, death penalty. You take a sprayer of mist, water, you go mirabitz, chayiv misa. How do I know? That was the Havamina. I learned from the Hashtachava. As the Gemara, how can you do that? So, Eicha Yavdu seems like the derech of the avodah. So what am I going to do with these two words, Eicha Yavdu? What does it come to exclude? Eicha Yavdu means you should worship the avodah zarah the way it was intended to be worshipped, and not with a broom and with spraying water. So now that you're telling me that in your Havamina, that every derech covered, even shaloi kedarka, yechayev. So what are the two words that you have to come to teach me? I have one thing that it can come to exclude. If there's an avodah zarah that you shech to it, yeah, they had all types of avodah zarahs. They used to shech their own children to avodah zarah. So they have an avodah zarah, you shech an animal. Comes a guy and relieves himself in front of the avodah zarah. Mamish disgusting. It's not a derech kavod at all. It's the opposite of kavod. It's the least kavod you could possibly do to a human being or to avodah zarah. So that you're not chayiv for. Dafka in the way, at least it has to be covered, or in the way that you worship it, but not a poyer atzmoy. But says Gemara, but I don't need a pasuk for that. Why? Mishtachava nafka. That I could know from bowing. It has to be a way of giving honor and respect. I've called derech kibud, and a poyer atzmoy is the opposite of giving covet. So of course you're not chayiv. So that was all. That's classic Gemara. It's to lead you in slowly. Obviously, the Gemara didn't think that for a second, but the Gemara is like one step at a time. So I'll give it to you. Now I'm going to tell you. Once you know that, here. Ella lemu'ute yapoyer atzmoi lemarkulas. Yeah. It is coming to exclude a person that relieves himself, but not in front of a regular Avodah Zarah. In front of the markulas Avodah Zarah. Markulas, what's markulas? You take a stone and you throw it at the Avodah Zarah. That's actually a disrespectful thing. You're throwing a stone at imagine us throwing stones at the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's a disrespectful thing. So this guy went and disrespected the disrespectful Avodah Zarah. Everybody's throwing stones. He relieves himself in front of it. So you think that he's chayiv? It's another. It's like instead of if you have an Avodah Zarah that everybody bows to and you didn't bow, you cleaned it. So it's a type of kavod. So you're chayiv. So if you do a type of disrespect, so you should also be chayiv. No, disrespecting. There's only one way to disrespect. You disrespect in a different way, even a worse way. You're not chayiv. That's why you need a pasuk. So I mean, I'm called bizayin. Maybe every type of disrespect you chayiv misa, kamashmal you're not chayiv misa. Fine. That's in the Havamina, to explain the Havamina. Interesting Gemara. Eliezer. Menayin.
Eliezer.
Over here it says Eliezer, different gears, but.
Eliezer. Let's take a vote.
Yeah. Okay. Good ara. Menayin lezever behem lemarkula shu chayiv. Shenemar velo yizbechu oide zevcheim lasirim. Imeino yin lekedarko dechsiv eichu yavdu. Tneu yin leshaloi kedarko. How do you know that if you shecht an animal to the markulas? Markulas is the throwing the stone of the Zarah, which we discussed. You guys weren't here, so I'll just throw it out there real quickly. Arabs hayyim.
Throw it out there. Good.
Not intended. The Arabs hayyim they go to Mecca and they throw stone. They throw a stone. One stone, each person throws a stone, they have a stone. So the Shailan and the Achrayim, are they considered of the Avodah Zarah? So the bottom line was that Nafkamina toss. You have an Arab in your house, you have a bottle of wine. Yain or not? You say, listen, Arabs are very scared of wine. They don't touch. If you go to Rami Levy and the Arab lady there by the checkout, she will not touch your bottle. She'll ask you, she says, it's also for me to touch it, please. They don't even touch a bottle of wine. They're saying, since they're so makbid, we don't have to be so worried, and the reason was makbid. But the Rambam paskins that Arabs are not over the Avodah Zarah, they have one entity, and I'm just saying this again for all those people that weren't here much of Shabbos. It was a week last night. So yes, it is an act of Avodah Zarah to throw a stone in Mecca, but they are not Avodah Zarah. They have one thing that's similar to Avodah Zarah, but the religion is not Avodah Zarah. So the bottom line is, what do you do if somebody shechs an animal to a throwing stone Avodah Zarah? The markulas. How do you know he's chayiv? Because there's a puzzle. Now, I already know, I already have a pasuk that that if you shecht it, well, that's not really kedarka. The Gemara says from yavdu, which is kedarka. Says the Gemara, why do I need a pasuk to teach me that if this is not the derech, because the derech is to throw a stone, and you shechted, I already know Shloi Kedarka Avodah Zarah from bowing, because he's going to learn everything interesting. He learns everything from Mishnah. No, this is a chiddush that when a person shechs to upset the Rebbeinu Shalom, you're also chayiv. That's a chiddush. Says the Gemara, one of the best in Shas. Rav Amnuna irkesulei Torah. Rav Amnuna lost some of his bulls, and that's the end of the story. Pogabei Rabba, and then he bumped into Rabba. And he asked him a contradiction in Mishnayos. So the Yad Ramah says, so why do you have to tell me the whole story, that he lost his bulls? But the answer is, because even though he was preoccupied with finding his bulls, he stopped and he was relaxed and he spoke to him about this contradiction he had in the Mishnah. But it's a serious question. In Halacha, they asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky because a guy lost his wallet on a bus. He left his wallet on the bus. So he held a taxi to go after the bus. And then some guy started asking him a question in learning. So he was musupik. Well, I have my wallet over there. The guy wants to talk in learning. So Reb Chaim said, no, you did the right thing by chasing the bus down, because the bus would go and you'd lose your wallet over there, and the Gemara over here. It's not that, they go, they move, but you'll be able to get them even if you pause for a few minutes. So what is the contradiction? The contradiction is as follows. Here. What does it say in our Mishnah? If you look on Daf, if you have an art school, you have to go back 6 pages, but if you have a Gemara, you can look on Daf Samach Amud Beis. The top words, the first words in the Amud, says, Ha'evid Avodah Zarah. If somebody worships Avodah Zarah. So, you're a kid in Cheder, I ask you a question. It says, if somebody worships Avodah Zarah, Chayiv Misa. Let me ask you a question. Stam, here, a riddle. It says in the Mishnah, if somebody worships Avodah, he worships Avodah Zarah. What does he do? He bows to Avodah, whatever he did. What if a person didn't worship? He just said, I want to worship this Avodah Zarah tomorrow morning. Chayiv Misa or not? No. It says, Ha'oived Avodah Zarah. You have to worship Avodah Zarah. Not, you're going to say, oh, so it's mashma from our Mishnah. That's why I wrote mashma. Mashma ha'oimer evoy potter. The problem is that the Mishnah Daf Samach Zayin says specifically that if a person says, I will worship Avodah Zarah, he's chayiv misa. So in our Mishnah it's mashma potter, and over there it says mefurish chayiv. The final, I'm giving you all the answers now. The final answer, the Gemara, number 7 actually, is that it's not a good diuk. The Mishnah means that if you say you're going to worship Avodah Zarah, you're mamish chayiv. It matches up. Everything is great. It says avodah because it's a smaller chiddush, and then it's loizu avzu. We're going to build up on the chiddush. First, the Mishnah talks about actually worshiping Avodah Zarah. Then the Mishnah says, you know what? You don't even have to worship it. You can just say you're going to worship. You also chayiv. Why? Sometimes the Mishnah does that. Loizu avzu. So now let me show you all the tirus in the Gemara, and basically that's most of today's sugya. It's just one teretz after another. Teretz number 1 is that our Mishnah, the reason why you potter is because he said it specifically, I don't want to be over now, I want to be over when I worship it. Right now I'm not doing anything. I'm going to worship. So it's an nafkamina when he's mekala himself to worship.
It's like the case you brought as Zoveach, who says I can only Zoveach, not so I can fill the bill later. I don't
The
know.
what?
The case you brought as Zoveach, who's not doing Zoveach to the Avodah Zarah, he's doing Zoveach so he can
No,
fill the
because
bill later.
I hear what you're saying, but over there he actually took action. He did a shchita, and part of the shchita, that's the halach of pigul. It's similar to pigul, because that's what pigul is. I'm shechting and I'm thinking I'm going to do this rika later. That's part of pigul, and that's also. Over here, guy said, tomorrow I'm going on a trip, an Avodah Zarah trip. But right now I'm not doing anything, I'm not mekabel anything, I have nothing to do with this Avodah. Tomorrow I'm gonna. Okay, that's different. What?
It's not Chayiv because of Mesis?
Mason Sue himself?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get into that. But he spoke to somebody else. He didn't try to convince anybody. I'm just going through these quickly. So we have, let's leave this on there for a second. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, talking is nothing. According to Rabbi Meir, talking is everything. And that's the nafkamina. One Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Meir. One Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Yehuda. Next, there's a difference between many people being convinced to do Avodah Zarah. They could all get together and think about it and say, what are we, crazy? And they back out of it. Where a single individual, I don't have to say double, individual, he won't back up usually. Once he decides he's going, you got him, then he's locked in. And then you have what Arya was talking about when you convince yourself, convince others, enough kemina, if they explain what this Avodah Zarah does. You say, this Avodah Zarah is unbelievable Avodah Zarah, it eats, it drinks. And then you have a difference between a guy that's off the derech, a guy that's already a mumer, he did Avodah Zarah. If he says he's going to do Avodah Zarah, he's serious. He's not backing out. Yisrael will back out. And finally, the teretz I just mentioned is that our Mishnah also says chayiv. So forget the fact that it says on top potter and we have a contradiction. Our Mishnah is chayiv and it lines up with the other Mishnah, Givaldik. Let's see inside. Shalom Aleichem Ashi. Shkoich for coming even when you come late.
Sorry.
No problem. It's Givaldik. Oh, it says in Gemara. Where are we? Oh, says in Gemara. What's the contradiction? Roma says in Adot. It's not no oived avodah zarah, oived in oimer lo. It seems like from our Mishnah that if you just say it, you're not chayiv. Vanant na no oimer evod elach ve'evoid. If a person says, I will worship. I'm going to go worship. Neilach v'nat. Let's go and worship. Chayiv. Omar lei. Says Rav Amnuna to Rabba, Ba'oimer, our Mishnah is talking about Eini mekablu elai ela ba'avoda. He says straight out that I am not accepting him upon myself. Maybe we should close that window over there in the back. I don't know. Eini mekablu elai ela ba'avoda. He says specifically, I'm not interested right now. Rabbi Yosef Omar, Tanoi, I have another pshat. Tanoi shekalas ma'amo. Tanoi. I like the way Yoshi did it. You see how he condensed it? He took it, it's kind of thick, boom, and he condenses it to fit in all the tirutzim. The one that we're talking about is a thicker, it's work. We have a machlokes Tanoi. Tanoi, the Sanya. Hoimer boy vivduni. The guy says, come and worship me. Remei mechayev review the poiter. We have machlokes. Now, hechet the polchu, when they come and they worship him, kule alma lepligi, nobody argues. Don't make yourself, you kedarshan l'cha. Don't make yourself an avodah zara. Here, we made a picture for that. Where is it? Here. He's even moves. You know these guys in Manhattan? Keep pligi b'dibur ba'alma. If they didn't listen to him, he tried to convince people. Nobody listened to him. Then we have a machlokes misa just by trying to get people to think that who tried this? Paroi. Paroi told people that he's a special entity and the people should worship him. So our Mishnah goes like Rabbi Yehuda that talking is garnished, and memela, that's why our Mishnah says potter, because if we go like Rabbi Yehuda, dibur la milsa. Let me ask you something. A guy tries to convince you that he's a special something and you should worship him. So if you don't listen to him, not chayev according to Rabbi Yehuda. What if he tries to convince you not to worship him, to worship that famous getchka that everybody worships, and you don't listen to him? But you don't listen to him.
He's a Mason.
That's a Mason. Very good. Says Ari, that's a Mason. Yechayev. Everybody agrees Yechayev. I'm trying to convince you about a new religion, about a new person. Come worship me. And nobody listened. You're not good at it. So you're not, that Rabbi Yehuda says you're not Chayev. When you try to convince of something that already people do, then you are Chayev. Hold on, Rabbi Yosef. Comes Rabbi Yosef, slugs up his own pshat. But I have a new pshat. First of all, let's slug it up. What I said before, forget about it. Erase it. Now, even Rabbi Yehuda is going to agree that talking is something in that case. It's not. You are chayiv. Where's the machlokes? When a person is trying to know, he's convincing him about himself. He's trying to convince other people that he is something, and they told him, yes, we're going to go with you. That's where the machlokes is. A typical Israeli, if you did that to Israeli, if I were to ask you right now, you told me a story. I convinced that Israeli to worship me, and he said yes. What are you going to say to yourself? The guy's messing with you. Obviously, he's messing with you. But this is machlokes. People do listen. There are things called cults, and unfortunately, even from people fall into these cults. Upstate New York, you have these cults. You have Mishugoyim. You have what was the guy's name? 700, 800 people, 900 people. I forgot how many people drank the Kool-Aid and they died. He partially convinced them to kill themselves. Jonestown. You have people that have charisma and they're able. People are saying, they say the truth. They when they say yes, I'm going to go with him, they're talking the truth. And you're chayiv. When you're trying to convince people about yourself, very few people will listen. Why would I worship him? Why is he any different than myself? Maybe I should worship myself. And why do they say yes, we'll go with you? They're making fun of him. Amud Beis. Sponsors. Turning to the Daf, Shvat innovations in honor of president officials. For Refuah. I thank you to Refuah Stefansky. Dar Global, experts in international financial services. Anonymous Zchut Refuah Satino Yechiel Yedidia Ben Nechama Shendel. Says the Gemara, Umas Nissim. That's why comes Yosef with a new pshat. Umas Nissim kan biyoch denisas. Kan means over there. Daf Samach Zayin is talking about an individual. Individual doesn't take it back, as the Gemara is going to say in a second. Kan Barabani Sasim Arabish is talking about a bunch of people. Yachad lo yimlach, a person, an individual usually doesn't take it back. V'toy basreid is going to go after him. Rabbi Mimlachei v'lo toy basreid. A whole group of people that were convinced they're going to get together one day and they're going to realize that they did a shtus and they're going to back out. Omer Rav Yosef, Mina Mina Law. How do I know this? Don't go after him, don't listen to him. But it's mashma. However, if you do listen, Rishama Chayiv. But if you don't listen, you're potter. Mishani Beinisis the Rab Nisis the Yochid. We don't have enough community between a bunch of people and a single person. But Tanya. This is the pasuk that Rabbi Yosef Eibshitz used to the bishop that asked him, where does it mention Oisei Ish in the Torah? You say everything's in the Torah, where's the Torah? Here, this pasuk. He's the son of your mother, of a mother, not a father. The father is from a different nation. And what does it say on the side? You can see on the side, it says over here. It says, and he's going to say, Leimar, Nelchav and Avda Elohim Acherim. Let's go worship another. And it says, Horek Targeno, and then you kill him. Echad Yachid, Hanisas Vechad Rabin Nisasim. There's no difference between an individual and many. We have the concept called Irani Dachas. The Torah talks about individually. What's the difference between an individual that lives of a desire? He gets a tremendous einish, the worst of the worst, called skila. What about his belongings? We don't burn his belongings. So there's a kula on his belongings. Rab and Miklal Yochid. And why did the Torah say that the Rab is different than Yochid? When it comes to Misa by Irani Dachas, we give them Sayif, right? And we burn everything. And we burn their stuff. So, but the Gemara says, Asabaya, there's only one difference. This thing that you burn the stuff, you don't burn the stuff, the Misa. But in terms of Maces, it's the same. So comes Abaya with another pshat number 4. Then our Mishnah is talking about Nisis Mipnei Atzmoi, and Memela, he's Potter, Kambinisis Piacherim. Mipi Atzmoi Mimlach, a person is going to take it back, Mipiacherim Gor Basrayu, but if other people convince you, you will go after them. I have to say this bar once in a while. The Kasuka says, it's not what I think about myself, it's not what you think about me. It's what I think you think about me. And that's how people operate. It's always what the other Yena thinks. I have to act what Yena is going to think and how he's going to perceive my shidduchim. It's all about pliny. You shouldn't listen to him. The point is, if you listen to somebody else, you're chayiv, but if I listen to myself, I'm potter. No, both Mishnayos, they would try. Somebody else try to convince you. Over there, this avodah zarah is a great avodah zarah. You can eat, drink, like the famous Ma'aseh with Daniel. The king told Daniel that he has avodah zarah that eats a lot. So Daniel said, "Okay, let's see what
a big crocodile."
Yeah. So they take a lot of food, they put it in the room, and they lock the door, and they wait there. And in the morning, they open up the door. It's gone. Says the king, you see, avodah zarah eats. So says Daniel, yeah, but I sprinkled a bunch of dust on the floor, and look on the floor. You see human steps, feet. Humans were here. Anoshim taf, even little kids. They got in from I don't know from where, but that's how. There's no such thing as avodah zarah eating. But if the guy explains it, he says, look, I have an unbelievable avodah zarah that eats, it drinks, it's mamish, it has powers. Then you are convinced and you chayiv misa. And therefore you're not chayiv misa. So how here? So let's just throw in Rava here. Our Mishnah is loya Amar kachachelas, over there is Amar kachachelas. That's why our Mishnah Potter over there chayiv. Amar Rava Nami, how do I know? It's what does it say in the pasuk? The end of the pasuk. It says, there's a difference when a person tells you I have avodah zarah. I'm not going to show it to you. It's far away, but you should know it's mamish choshev. It eats, it drinks. So you know, mali kroivim, mali rechaykim. Hachi garmalei mitivuzim shekroivim matalome mativuzim sherechaykim. My love, darmalei kach echelas kach shoysa. You learn from the closer ones. He tells the guy, look, it eats, it drinks. Kach mitiva, kach maria. It does good, it does bad. So this is the difference between whether he said or interesting. Two more tirutzim. What's the nafkamina between the two mishnayos? One mishnah says, if you say I'm going to do avodah zarah, you're potter. Our mishnah, The other one says you're chayiv. Rav Ashi Omar Sefer B'Yisrael Mumar. Over there, second Mishnah talks about a Yisrael that went off already. So when he says I'm going to do Avodah Zarah, he really means it. He's not going to retract. He's not going to retract so you kill him. Ravina Omar Lo Zu Avzuktani. Your whole premise is wrong. The whole kasha was based on a diuk that you made. That our Mishnah says that he worshipped Avodah Zarah, mashma that if he just said he's going to worship, he's potter. Not true. If he says he's going to be worshiping Avodah Zarah, he's chayiv. So why did our Mishnah go to the case of worshiping? Say a much bigger chiddush. Even if he said he's going to worship, he's chayiv. The answer is, you're right. Sometimes the Mishnah starts off slow and builds it up. Next Mishnah, in 5 days, we're going to see that even if he said that he's going to worship Avodah Zarah, he's chayiv. That's Ravina's answer. Itmar. If somebody worships Avodah Zarah, me'ahava u'me'ira. Somebody put a gun to his head, or somebody, he's marrying a woman, and the woman says, "If you love me, prove it to me. Do Avodah Zarah." Now he has no taiva, cheshek, kavana. He has no intention for Avodah Zarah, but he's doing it to impress his kala, out of love. Abai Omar chayiv, Rava Omar potter. Rava says he's potter. As Tosis, the question that many of you are thinking right now in your head. What? No, much better. What's the kasha you're supposed to be asking me? If a guy puts a gun to your head, what are you supposed to do? What do you mean he's potter? How could he say you're potter? Meira. How much fear do you have? More than a gun?
No, but isn't
there... You have to... You're carry the Masana.
Isn't there the idea that you're like stressing you're not in your right mind when someone's touching you?
Okay, so you're kind of what Tosis is saying. So he says, what if you didn't do Yahar Gaval Yavar? What if a guy put a gun to your head and said, I'll kill you, and you couldn't be oimed in the Nisayan? It's a tremendous Nisayan. I don't know what I myself would do. What would you do? Think about it.
Take it.
Huh? You'd probably come up with 5 roots and why it's not a real Avodah Zarah, and that's the Rav later. That's not Mamash Avodah Zarah, and Mamash didn't really. Okay, so you worshipped Avodah Zarah out of fear, and you didn't take the bullet to your head. Now what? You chayiv misa, not chayiv misa.
You're not.
Rava says not. Abai says yes. You chayiv misa.
Paskin Lamaisi is that.
We paskin like Rava. Okay, we paskin like Rava. Besides in. Yam Kigam. Abai Omar chayiv do palcha.
This series is always part.
It'll be cool. Like in North Korea, where you have to bow to Kim Wan King, whatever his name is over there. What?
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un. You chayiv to bow if you're not to take your head off. So if you pass him like a bay, you're allowed to nuke them. They're all chayiv misa because they all did a meira. Okay, fine.
So by Baal Pa'ar, all people that worship Baal Pa'ar because it's pronounced no.
Yeah, that's Mehava. Yeah. So says the Gemara, we have a Mordechai Gemara that Rav Nachman Seltzer writes in one of his books. Which book?
It's a very old, for a long time ago.
A long time ago. But anyways, the mice is here. There's a ministry right over here in what? A monastery right here. They own a tremendous. I think they sold it just recently. Massive piece of land. You can build thousands of apartments on it. So in the monastery, they got a call. There was a break-in or something. So 2 cops show up, and they say, go check it out. So they start arguing with each other. They didn't want to go in. There's a big, and now they took them from the side door. And it's a low door, and you have to bend down and go in. And when you bend down, there's a cross right in front of you. So one cop tells the other one, he's a cherem, he says, "I'm a kohen, I'm not allowed to go in." So the other guy, he peeks in, he sees the cross. He's like, no. So he backs in. He goes. So the guy didn't like it, and they sent a whole letter to Rome, and Rome back to Israel. They said, your cop was Mavayish our Avodah Zarah. Mamash Aaron Ramam B'Shemesh. They fired the cop. He lost his pension, he lost everything. And Rav Nachman was in the taxi with the guy, and the guy said, he became a taxi driver. And he says, I'll do it all over again if I have to. And walked him backwards.
His name is Yaakov Pinchasi.
Yaakov Pinchasi, you're a tzaddik. I hope you do the daf with us, like the Nahag Monit and the Avrech Koilel who drives 5 times a day. 5 times a day. So the Gemara. So Abai Omar Chayev, why you're Chayev? Do palchal. At the end of the day, you worshipped it. Rav Omar Potter. Yikavle alei beloy ha in iloy loy. if he didn't accept it upon himself, he was forced to do it. So that's not avodah zarah. You don't die for that. I'll prove it to you that you're chayiv. Why? Because you worshipped it. This is not our Mishnah. What's this word echad ha'oved? My love, echad ha'oved mehavu me'ira. What's echad ha'oved? Why are these extra words? It goes on to tell us how to do avodah. You do nisach kitur. What's echad ha'oved? Obviously, it's coming to say this exact idea that you worshipped it out of love and out of fear. We had a whole sugya. Why does it say echad ha'oved? And Rabbi Yirmiyah explained there's to worship kedarka and there's a worship shalai kedarka, doing it in a different way that the goyim do it. Also chayiv. How do I know it? You could bow to a person. What if it's a person that you worship like Haman? You shouldn't worship them. Oh, ask Mordechai. Why didn't Mordechai bow to Haman? I'll tell you why. Because Haman threatened your life. And even though he threatened your life, you're not allowed to worship him. It says Mefurish, you're not allowed to worship out of fear. Says the Gemara, Birevach Haman v'lo Haman. He's like Haman, but not like Haman. In other words, I wanted to bring you an example of Haman that he demanded that you worship him personally. V'lo Haman, but not literally like Haman. Dilo Haman miyira, Haman put a gun to your head, v'achalav miyira. Fine, we'll stop right over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.